Alright guys, let's quickly go through some of the lunacy that's going on in this country today, in what is the 427th day of 14 days to flatten the curve. But first, before we do that, for those who don't know, I actually have my own website now. It has forums, groups and videos listed on there, with more coming in the next few weeks. It is completely free with no ads or anything like that, and you can sign up and become a member, so check it out in the video description if you have not already. If you already have, then you know you're a legend, and I can't thank you enough for joining me over there. Now though, let's get on with the first bit of lunacy that I've found today, and that is the SNP councillor tweeting about how much she hates the UK before getting roasted and backtracking like a wet wipe. At the end of the day, we all know you hate the UK, just own it, you fucking pussy. Don't try and back out of it when you realise the fake few nationalists who support you don't outnumber the general public. Many of these echo chambers suffer this same delusion, so should we even be surprised at this point? Personally, I just find it funny that these politicians come out with this bullshit and then backtrack so quickly, proving as we know they don't actually hold any of the beliefs that they claim to do. They just talk shit based around whoever's paying them what at any given moment. Next up though is the incoming shitstorm that many had predicted in relation to cancer, because the Telegraph is now reporting on the 300,000 strong cancer crisis that is waiting to bite us all in the arse, and in fact will likely add to the people already taking the government and NHS to court, you know, for letting their loved ones die in the past year. As I've reported before, 27-year-old mothers of two are dead because the National Health Service became the Coronavirus Health Service, with nurses dancing on TikTok and demented seals clapping them like returning war heroes. That shit actually makes me fucking sick. Next up, we have the BLM activist and racist trout Sasha Johnson, who it seems took some lead in the mean streets of South London. Reports are saying she got shot in the head at about 3 AM on Saturday morning and is now in hospital. At first, the reports seemed to frame this as though people threatening her actually committed this crime, yet none of them actually connected any of this with the attack itself. Now though, the media are actually suggesting she was hit by a stray bullet in some Peck and Gang related drama that was happening at a house party, and in fact was not even the intended target of the bullet. Now, as I said, you wouldn't have thought any of that by media reports earlier this morning, because they suggested she was the target and maybe an anti-BLM activist had done this after threatening her life. Personally, I actually knew it wasn't a white person who shot her, because the media and her activist friends would have been all over that like a fly around shit. And as you know, the BLM lot would have been marching in the streets, burning shit down like we see in America. Next up though, we have a BBC journalist who actually wrote that Hitler was right, because why wouldn't she? It's the BBC after all. Nothing is beyond the people working there at the end of the day. I mean, they openly run around supporting Karl Marx and shit like that, so supporting Hitler or thinking he's right is not really too much of a stretch for me when it comes to the BBC. I only covered it there because lots of people seem to actually be shocked by this, but it's the BBC like I've said. If you can think it, the chances are there's someone at the BBC actually doing it. They covered up Savile for 40 years, what more do I even need to say? Next up, we've got some news about the pubs in this country, or should I say the hundreds that have vanished like a fart in the wind, no thanks to the lockdowns promoted by bedwetting fuckpigs over the past 15 months. This report claims 6 per week have been lost during lockdown, so it's no small number. All of course while they plan to use lockdowns for climate lunacy in the future. Apparently though, 384 pubs have been demolished or converted into other uses in just the past 14 months. Now this is all before furlough and other support packages end, which will likely send many more right into the shitter. Then, as I've said before, we will see the real job losses, you mark my words. But finally, we actually have a family speaking out after a monster who raped and murdered their 6-year-old sister 35 years ago is released from prison, and is actually allowed to change his name with no one being allowed to know what it is now. This, I'm sure you would agree, is a joke beyond all belief. That is a child rapist and murderer now roaming around the country with a new name, unknown to anyone who happens to live nearby. In fact, it really goes to show the utter failings this country has when it comes to the justice system. In my mind, if you rape and kill a child, you should never see the light of day again, let alone be allowed to hide in plain sight like this. In fact, when it comes to that, I believe the justice system in the UK should be going medieval on these motherfuckers. And actually, I would expect that most of the country would probably agree with that statement. But guys, that's going to be the end of the video there. I want to thank you all for watching. Remember, like I said at the beginning, the channel now has its own website you can check out in the video description.